What's going on, guys? Keith Lamberth back again with a player interview with Mr. Eric Polenz with the Motor City Ambassadors. These guys started 4-0 in the season, hit a little speed bump, a little two-game skid. Eric, talk to me about traveling down to the famed Lake Guntersville this weekend to take on the Southern Slayers and what it meant to get it, not only for yourself to have a big day, big day, but for the team to get a win and get back on the right track headed into the playoffs.
Well, when we saw Guntersville on the schedule, it's one of those things where who doesn't want to go fish Lake Guntersville? It's a pretty cool place. I've got to go down there a couple times, but always in the spring. So really, I was looking forward to fishing a different type of year. I knew it would fish a little bit differently than what it has when I had been there in the past. But we were really excited to go check it out, and we all went out to dinner, both teams, on Thursday night, and we talked about it then. And this was a really important game for both teams. We're both sitting at 4-2, and a win would mean a lot for the both of us, and especially us coming off a 2-game skid. It was one of those deals where I don't think we really lost confidence in our ability to catch fish. It was just one of those deals where Indy hasn't lost at home yet in 2 years. So we knew that was going to be a tough one, and we went down there and we gave it everything we got and just came up a little bit short. On Grand Traverse Bay, I didn't fish that one, but I know that our guys went into it. They caught fish and just couldn't find the kickers that the other team did. And it was one of those deals where, we're still putting up good numbers. I think we caught 170 in Indy. We caught almost 170 on Grand Traverse Bay, and we lost both of them. So it's one of those deals where you're never happy with losing. But on the flip side of that, we weren't rolling over. We didn't go out and not catch fish. We caught them, and you just got to tip your cap sometimes to the other team that caught them a little bit better than you. But we knew what we were up against this week. We know that Southern's a really good team, and we knew that we're going to have to put up a pretty good number in order to be able to beat them. And luckily, we found some good quality fish, and we were able to pull it out. And now we're 5-2 with a little bit of work to do, and it was a fun trip for us.
Well, because of the interdivision matchup, Indianapolis pulled off a big win this weekend against Tennessee. They've got one more win than you guys in the division. They're at 4-2 in the division. You guys are at 3-2 in the division. Talk a little bit about what it would mean to get this next win coming in. You got the Washington Warhawks. They've got a match against the Arkansas Hogs coming to them. So both of you guys are going to be at home. A win by y'all, loss by them could flip the standings. Both of you win and you hold true. It looks pretty safe to say that both teams are in the playoffs. But to get this win with the Washington Warhawks coming in, just give yourself that one more chance to get back to that number 2 seed and host a home playoff game as the 2 seed and get a couple weeks to kind of plan for it. What would that mean for the team and obviously yourself, but the entire Motor City Ambassadors team?
Well, in a lot of ways, we control our own destiny. I can tell you that we don't want to go into it hoping that Indiana doesn't win. We got to go do our part and get the win, and hopefully put ourselves in a spot where we can put up a good number to make up a little bit of ground. Right now, I think Indianapolis has like 5.75 inches over us in the point differential. So, number one is going in and hoping to get the win. But Washington's a really good team, and they're going to be no slouches. And St. Clair's a really good fishery, so it's inevitable that they put up a pretty big bag. But we got to go out and really find some big ones in the next couple of weeks, and hopefully they show up for us on tournament day, and we can not only win but hopefully put up a big enough number to hopefully gain that ground, because Indianapolis doesn't like to lose at home. So we kind of have to figure on them winning and do our part and hopefully put up a big enough number to close the gap.
Now, you guys faced Indy twice this year, once at home. We know we saw the big fish at the kayak that Mike Elsey lost, and Jeremy Baker having a couple big right at the end of the match. I mean, that match was back and forth, must-watch match. Match 2 was no different. Lake Manitou showed up, and again, we were within a few inches of each other. What what would it mean for a trifecta? What if it was an opportunity for you guys to face Indy one more time to send the North team to the KFL Cup Championship in Chickamauga? Would that not be exciting as for you as it would for the rest of us to get to watch?
I think if you ask any 6 team between the two teams, I think that we both would very much like that. Uh, I mean, honestly, you look at it, and I talked to Greg this morning. It's almost poetic justice where we're sitting at right now. We're virtually tied, and the tiebreaker is less than 6 inches between the two of us in point differential. Um, we're two evenly matched teams that can put them up. We did it once in a smallmouth fishery. It was 2 inches. Then we go to a largemouth fishery the next week, and it was like 2-3 inches there.
Yeah.
And we have a lot of fun fishing against each other. We really do. I have a lot of respect for them, and I think that they have a lot of respect for us. And I think it would just be fun. That you'd be in a dogfight. You're going to put on a show, and playing the rubber match would be a pretty cool way to decide who gets to represent the North, if we both get to that point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, look, again, back to this match this past weekend, man. Everybody I've talked to, we fished it. Lake Guntersville is fishing a little tough. It's not fishing like the Lake G that everybody thinks of or that everybody knows. You were able to go out and put up almost 170 inches. And in the dog days of summer here in Alabama, it's not easy. We're dealing with some crazy rainstorms. I believe y'all got some right before the match. It changes hourly here. If you don't like the weather in Alabama, wait 5 minutes. It's going to change for you. So talk a little bit about your day on Lake Guntersville and the monster bag you were able to put up.
Well, I went down there, and I fished it in the spring, but never in the summer. So when I went down, in my head, I was like, I'm going to launch at Mud Creek. I've had some success there in the past, and I pull into the ramp just as soon as I get down there. And I looked around, and I didn't like what I saw. In my head, I thought, this isn't it. So then I just kind of started thinking, and I was hemming and hawing about what I wanted to do. And I decided I'm going to find some grass somewhere along the main river. And I'm going to go give that a shot and just see what I can do. So I pulled up the map, and I looked, and I found somewhere where there was some grass with a ramp close by. So I just went there, and when I launched, I saw two of the Southern Slayers. I went out and talked to them a little bit and got to fishing, and I didn't do anything great, but I caught a couple that were right around 18, and I thought, this is a real big area, and I'll be able to fish it for, all day and not run out of grass to fish. So this is a nice little spot. And we went back. We had dinner the next day. I went and pre-fished around Goose Pond because I had fished there before, and I just didn't find anything that I particularly liked, and there was a storm about ready to roll through. So what I decided is I'm going to go home. And on the drive back, I thought to myself, man, I don't want to be the first one back home. I was the last one to leave for practice. So I passed the ramp, and I turned around. I went and parked in and wait for the rain to stop. And I just figured, I'll go fishing out around here. And I just stumbled on them, really. So part of it was a little bit luck, but I rolled up, and in about maybe less than an hour, man, I caught 6-7 fish, and I was around maybe 80-85 inches, and I thought, man, I probably need to leave because I might have to fish here tomorrow. So I took off, and over the night I decided I'm going to go there to start. It wasn't a real big area, but I thought, there's enough fish there, maybe put a couple fish on the board and just hop over to my other spot once it dies off. And I started catching them pretty good that morning. And what was funny is there was about a 25 boat tournament that was staging maybe 100 yards away from me. And I started catching them pretty good. I probably caught 6-7 fish in a matter of a half hour. And I'm sitting there watching those boats stage, and I'm thinking, man, I hope none of them come and join me. But at about 8:15, I caught my 10th fish, and I think I was around 160 inches. And I mean, they were just there, and they were biting, and why they were there, I'm not really sure. It was a little bit of luck to find them, but they stayed there in between days, and I started catching them pretty good. And then around, 9 o'clock, had been an hour since I got a bite, and it just wasn't feeling good anymore. So I went to my other spot, and the fishing wasn't quite as good, but I ended up catching one that was about 20 with about 10 minutes left that, was that good final call. But, fishing throughout the whole thing, we had fish, but on Guntersville, when you have 168 inches, which is about where we're at when I launched at the other ramp, 168 inches, and they had maybe 130 with a couple real big fish, and you knew, like, man, if they catch 2 more fish, there's a good chance that they pass us.
Right.
So in a way, it kind of felt like our Indy match with Mike Elsey and them on Lake St. Clair, where they didn't have the numbers yet, but they had some pretty good size, and we had a number that could still be beat. So, we really had to fish hard for 7 hours. We never counted them out, and fortunately for us, they weren't able to find the last 2 because it got pretty tough there in the afternoon, and we're luckily able to pull it out.
Well, again, Lake Guntersville has not been fishing like it was. You guys were, long travel. You guys were headed to a lake that's been kind of inconspicuous, to say the best, against the Southern Slayers team that was, started the season 0-2, and they were on a 4-game win streak, and they had a lot to play for too. So congratulations to yourself and the rest of the Motor City Ambassadors on that win. Eric, we look forward to this match coming up in 2 weeks with the Washington Warhawks. You never know what's going to happen at the top of the leaderboard, top of the standings, and what's going to happen going into the playoffs. But ultimately, our goal is to get the Chickamauga at the end of October for the KFL Cup. So, again, you guys have had a great season so far. We look forward to many more conversations with the Motor City Ambassadors. I want to thank you for your time coming on today with us. And moving forward, we want to wish you guys nothing but the best of luck and the best of safety out on the water. And good luck moving forward. I mean, this Motor City Ambassador, Indianapolis Night saga may not be over, but either way, we know we're going to get to see you guys in the playoffs.
Yeah, I appreciate having it. We're really looking forward to Washington. I don't get too active on the smack talk around the league too much, but Greg's one person I like to talk it to a little bit. So I'm sure that they're looking forward to coming up here and fishing us too. It should be a good one. And, we don't want to sit around and hope for other things to happen. We're hoping to go out and make it happen. And we're going to do what we can to make sure it does. Fishing's fishing, so there's no guarantees, but we want to go out and do this ourselves. We don't want to sit around and hope that other things happen in our favor. And we're really looking forward to it. And, I wanted to tell you, Keith, while I'm on here with you, you do a great job with these interviews, man. You really knock it out of the park. So I look forward
I appreciate it.
Every week I look forward to seeing them, and I'm feeling fortunate and glad that I was able to be a part of one this week.
Well, Guy, I tell you, it was impressive to watch what you and your team did this week all season long as well. And we look forward to talking to you guys again real soon.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Eric. Have a great one.